VR shooters have changed the way that I play games forever, and I've played a lot of VR shooters in my day. A lot of them are, fucking dog shit, dude. Except for these five. These five are pretty good here. I figure I'll let you guys know what those are so I can save you guys $100 or so, and a lot of disappointment. Let Queenie take care of ya. That's why I'm giving you guys the top 5 shooters on the Quest 3 that I've played and that I've vetted. I didn't play these games though. These are definitely just trailer footage, so I don't even know who these guys are anymore. Anyways, check it out. So the first up is going to be Into the Radius 2 by CM Games. Don't get me wrong, the first one's good, but the second one's better. And also it's got co-op. Essentially you venture into the zone, you scavenge for resources, fight some threats, bring shit back to your own hideout. Pretty heavy on the survival stuff too, so you gotta maintain your hunger, stamina, thirst. You gotta maintain your guns. Last thing you want is a malfunction when you gotta creep up your ass. Even the environment is hostile in this game. Your best buddy is actually just a fucking shell casing with a string tied around it. It's essentially like a mixture between an extraction shooter and Stalker, but in VR, and you really feel like you're in the zone. It's actually quite creepy. At 40 bones, it's probably the most expensive on this list, and it is mostly PvE, so that is kind of one thing to take away from it. If you're looking for a PvP shooter, just keep going. If not, this is a pretty good game for the money. Now, number 4 should come as no surprise to anybody who's been in the VR space at all, ever, and that is going to be Pavlov. So the reason that Pavlov does so well, still to this day, is because the weapons in the game are just fantastic. Everything feels super tight, and the weapon handling and interactions are just as smooth as can be. On top of that, you got some classic game modes. You know, you got your team deathmatch, you got your search and destroy, which is like a classic bomb defusal mode. It really does feel like Counter-Strike, but in VR. Now there is the social mode that is TTT, which is pretty okay. I mean, it's fun on occasion, as long as you don't mind a couple of slurs here and there, but it's mostly kids, so if you're not really into the socializing with minors thing, you can kind of stay away from there. It's $20, which means that realistically, anybody should be able to afford it, and I mean, realistically, everyone's played it. Be warned though that the servers are pretty dead. Before we continue, I'd like to give a special shout out to the original Contractors VR. It is a fast-paced military virtual reality shooter with mod support. Now, it typically focuses on tactical movement, good weapon handling, and team-based combat. I mean, it's pretty obvious you're going to physically reload your weapons and whatnot, but just like Pavlov, it feels super tight. There is the one issue of the balance, which I believe is the CBZ or the QBZ, whichever one it is, I forget, being super broken and overpowered, but you're not going to be using that because realistically, you're going to be playing the Call of Duty mods, you're going to be playing the Zombies mods, you're going to be playing some of the user-generated stuff. You know, you want to play Star Wars, you can play Star Wars. You want to play TF2, you can play TF2. It's just amazing. The only issue that I have with the game currently is that realistically, if you're not playing during a peak time, you're probably not going to find a server for the loadout or mod that you want to play. For me personally, it's almost always MW2. You know, good old 2009 Modern Warfare with the Xbox Live Party chat, minus all the slurs, sometimes. Number 3 is Vail, definitely an underdog pick here, but it is actually quite fun, and it is free to play. I say in air quotes, and those air quotes are doing a lot of heavy lifting. Now, Vail Combat, the full version is about $30, but you can get it for free by mining or in the mines with the rest of the kids, which, when I say it like that, sounds a lot worse than it actually is. But it's got your typical 5v5 modes. You know, it's got your search and destroy, it's got your team deathmatch, as well as it's got some fun ones like gun game and scouts knives. And the good news is that you don't have to worry about the servers dying on it because it is highly competitive and it is cross-play, which means you can play with PC VR, therefore filling up your servers a lot easier. Do be warned though that it is filled with microtransactions, which, say what you will, I don't really care about what I look like in a game, so that doesn't cost me a dime. Now, number 2 is the new hotness on the block, and that is Forefront VR. That is a brand new early access release. It just dropped on November 6th here, and everyone's saying that it's like Battlefield in VR. And I will say that it does feel a lot like the older Battlefield games, a la Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. So not the old ones, but, you know, the ones that you guys probably grew up with. You know, it's got your typical experience for like a Battlefield game of that era. It's 32v32. You've got destruction, you've got full vehicles, and it is just all out chaos. I will say that the guns do feel a little weak. However, it is in early access, so that means that things are going to be balanced, things are going to be tweaked. There's a huge roadmap involved that you can see as soon as you boot up the game. It costs about $20 to get in, which is pretty nice, but you do get the game upon release as it stands right now. It's your typical class-based shooter. You know, you've got your assault with your assault rifles, you got your medic and your engineer with SMGs, you know, defib paddles, rocket launchers, all that sort of stuff. You got a recon with a bolt-action rifle if you don't want to kill anything. All in all, I've been playing it for the past like week or so straight. I haven't played really anything else, so that's why it's on number 2. Now, number 1 should come as no surprise to anybody that's actually watched my channel before, but it does have to go to Contractors Showdown, Exfil Zone. It's essentially like Escape from Tarkov, but in VR with the looting and the shooting and the killing and the stealing. You can go in solo, with a duo, or with a trio, essentially, and you gotta try to make it out. What you bring in, you can lose. If you die, you lose everything on your person. You do not get it back. The quest and task system really kind of lends itself really well to VR. You know, you have to physically go to the locations and know what you're looking for and read the descriptions. You got to know the maps, of which I think there's like 5 of them right now as well, which is pretty nice, and I think that they're going to be adding more pretty much with every wipe, so long as they don't break more stuff with the wipe. God knows the Unreal Engine 5 update kind of crashed and burned, but don't worry, they're on the road to recovery. If you like hardcore extraction shooters, this is probably the harder, more punishing one of the two. And realistically, Vail doesn't count, so at $20, it'll get you a lot of hours of enjoyment. It does have a very steep learning curve, though, so I would suggest maybe checking out some of my videos and you'll learn a thing or two. Or maybe you'll just learn how to, catch bullets with your teeth. Both are viable learning strategies. I'd also like to give an honorable mention to Ghosts of Tabor. Honestly, I kind of was debating about putting it in this video or not, but I figured since I already had Exfil Zone, I'm not going to just bang it up with extraction shooters. And while I prefer Exfil Zone, I have been getting back into Tabor recently, and it's actually doing pretty well for itself now. I know back in the day, people were asking a bunch of questions like, isn't it super buggy and janky? And didn't Scott kill a guy once? And the answer to both of those questions was yes. Essentially, it's a lot like Exfil Zone, just with smaller maps, more weapons but less customization, and a little bit different movement. You can't play as the AI, and the loot has a lot less value to you. That being said, it is still a very fun extraction shooter. I still suggest playing it. It's a classic. I mean, it's won awards for a reason. I'd probably wait until closer to wipe time, though. Right now, everyone's running pretty geared. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, please feel free to like, maybe leave a comment. Tell me what your favorite game is on the quest. And I know it really helps the channel if you subscribe, so I would appreciate it if you did. If not, that's okay too. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.